ears at all. So you're talking about like input locking, people want that in the game. What would that look like? A half mouse, half controller on the screen?
He needs to, I know he streams, he needs to put a webcam down like on his setup. Like I want to see how he does it.
I was like, how would you do that with the controller and the mouse though?
Well,
you need 2 webcams, you need 2 hand cams.
Well, but this is the thing though, it's like Fortnite players do it. You know that. Fortnite players do that and scroll wheel reset and all that stuff. I mean, obviously 2 different games, but like again, like you mentioned though, Jacob, I'm amazed that it at least transitioned over to gears. But hey, maybe there is a benefit to rocking 2, and you got to be very talented to do so. All right, let's get the party started. Training Grounds is underway, and Xploidz going to be the first victim. Dyslexic probably going to follow suit, and Hive off to a phenomenal start.
If you talk about let's get the party started, Hive wasting no time letting, or FNI, I should say, wasted no time letting Hive know they were definitely not invited in this one, but the overextension towards the top half of the map, that's going to give that advantage on over towards Hive. As soon as they get this capture, I want to see them stay alive. Too many times you see the players in this positioning get eliminated, get funneled back, and then the rest of it gets taken over from there. They're landing some good shots, lots of damage being traded out, but they're beginning to split up. A huge flank coming in from Toti. Inzem's able to clean up the kill, but he ends up dying in the end. So even though they did land themselves a 15-point advantage, they're even going to capture that neutral. The positional and the man advantage goes on over towards Fire Nice. They're going to get the hill, get the break, get the cap, and try to set up and not give any time to Hive to answer back.
You know, the thing is, though, Hive is really going to give it a good go. Already 3 strong, looking to maybe pressure on Overlook, go for the OE, and Fire and Ice has to respect this and understand this. You can see player 4 maybe toying with rotating back. Player 2 is there as well. But you also have to be cognizant and aware of maybe them, you know, redirecting, pulling an audible, and then heading through mid. But I don't think that's going to be the case. They're going 3 strong. They've counted numbers, and they know Xploidz is the only one from FNI here. I am shocked that nobody rotated over earlier, and man, Xploidz has to go big. He does everything he can. He gets a couple of downs. The Lancer Fire helped out, but I felt Fire and Ice was a bit too slow to react there.
No, I agree with you 100%. And they even got to realize that they're too slow and try to break through to Hive's side of the map. With nobody being eliminated on the side of Hive, that's a free hill. No one's going to spawn behind you, but instead they put all their eggs in this basket. They want to retake their home hill. They have a little bit of a lead, so they have the time to do it, but nobody able to convincingly go over. So now that this elimination happened, players off of respawn, that gives Hive that opening on the other side of the map to attack the neutral, knowing that Toti's left all by his lonesome. So now, even though that Hive or Fire Nice did break and get their home hill back, the tables have still inside of Hive because they did get the neutral.
Okay, so Hive, like you said, they get the neutral. They've got Charlie. They're now in the lead once again, or at least they've always been in the lead. So Fire Nice has to find a way to battle back. Their best chances maybe on B because they do have 3 members there, but player 4 is going to rotate over, and we could be seeing a split push, bit of a 2v2, as of course that could be their only win condition. But as Dyslexic falls, so does Fearzly. You can pretty much wrap it up. Hive should have this in the bag. Toti, though, pulls off a great play against TJ and Solurs, but again, Hive is still going to have that neutral, and it doesn't even matter in the end.
You see Xploidz trying to stop and put some fire down to allow his teammates try to push in through the middle, but with 2 hills, 2 points to 1, that's going to allow them to achieve that scoreline in under 3 minutes. So to start if this one, it is going to be Hive, and that comes down to a crucial big team battle early on towards that U. They're able to stagger the deaths and really take control from home hill to home hill, which left Fire Nice to think. You talk about that slow rotation over. Nobody really helped Xploidz, but at the same time, nobody tried to overextend to keep the hills in their favor. Slow reactions like that will definitely put you in a losing position.
100% right. And again, just to reiterate your point, rotating over a bit earlier would have definitely saved them or had the potential to save them. Because, I mean, you could even see how well, you know, Xploidz was doing such a good job trying to hold his own there. And he really was doing a good job. If he had one more player there, I strongly feel FNI could have stopped that push of Hive. But regardless, the end result, Hive takes it 1-0. And we'll start off once again. That 3v3 on Overlook about to go down. Hive did such a great job on the initial before. And already getting that chip damage on Dyslexic is going to be huge for Inzem. And you can already tell, Inzem's going to get that down. Of course, Dyslexic will be back into the fold. FNI is doing a great job trying to push back. But Inzem, once again, at the forefront, and Fire and Ice, they're stacked up hard. Let's see what they can do.
Getting pushed back little by little. They got that first down, unable to really capitalize it on the other side of the map. Noey loses that exchange over towards that neutral. So the early lead going over towards Fire and Ice, but Solurs just want to give this one up without a fight, realizing you have to take something if we're losing something. They take that fight over towards the home hill. He gets down, but TJ there to save the day. So the 2 hills going on over towards Hive. So that's going to force Fire and Ice. When they spawn up, they're going to kind of like act or look like they're going over towards that neutral hill because they don't want to continue to funnel on their home mill and throw away their lives. They got some coming back to do, and they have to have the personnel to do it. But as you see, number 4, number 2, looking like they're going to try and overextend for a moment. But as I say that, they want their home hill back without spreading the numbers out, which kind of confuses me a little bit.
It is interesting, isn't it? Again, I think Hive objectively is just playing so very well, and Fearzly kind of caught out in no man's land. It's not getting any value there. The value is this 3v2, without question, but man, Dyslexic is getting tagged up quite a bit, and these 2 members from Hive are putting up one hell of a fight. And if they can make it out of this, I mean, that's going to be massive, and not to mention player 8's also getting the break, and that's a great hold. That is a phenomenal hold. Hive, once again, objectively playing well, reallocating their numbers effectively, and they're countering F&I. Like, this is what I was witnessing time in and time out, right, going in the Pro League qualifiers. Hive was just a consistently good team. F&I would struggle against them, but kind of seeing a much the same result now. It's almost like going back in time, but nothing has really changed.
And if you really look at the eliminations as well, obviously there's some that's going kind of to nobody with them getting left down on the ground. But there's only a 4 elimination difference, but a massive 2-round difference that is going over towards Hive. They're making the right plays. They're making their eliminations count. And on the side of Fire and Ice, we've already been talking about it for 2 rounds. They're so slow, and they're not utilizing their advantages to the point where they're not even giving themselves an advantage.
You know, it's funny. It's like when you watch Rise and a United play, you always know you're in for a good match because both of the teams know each other's play styles so well. Like, and that's why last night was incredible, 27 rounds. Same thing with Hive and Fire and Ice. But it seems like Hive, I don't know, might just be the more mature team in a way. And those strong initials that normally take teams aback, it's not bothering Hive as much because they understand the positioning from F&I and kind of what they're all about. So again, Hive, even though they do lose the 2-1 at first, you can already see them pressuring back on F&I, and they're in a tough spot. Player 2's in a 1v2 on the B hill, and then of course you have the domination coming in. Player 2 falls. Player 4, Toti, he's going to try and get a touch here if he possibly can, but nowhere he can go. Domination's there. Hive takes round 3.
Yeah, aside from the actual initial himself, that round was all Solurs all the way. A player on Fire and Ice thought they were safe to go and try to grab that sniper. Solurs flash outside, more towards their side, if anything, and immediately pushed across. The player thought he was going to try to get out alive, try to bounce around, but well-played shots by Solurs, not only able to get the sniper out of play with that elimination, he continued to push past, got the flank, solidified that neutral positioning on over towards the U, and gave his team the full advantage from there on out. Solurs just completely playing lights out here in this finals.
And I feel the best way to objectively throw Hive off would have been for F&I to place that long shot on Overlook instead of below Overlook, you know, in hell. That for me would have been the better play personally, because now this fight is still awkward and F&I is trying to just find a way to battle against the consistency of Hive, and it's just not working. But regardless, the power weapon is where it is, and you have to go for it either way. The TJ, though, should be able to get a quick pick. That was a great stun that was thrown out, so that allowed him to have a little bit of time to get in there, but he is going to be challenged eventually. But can he get away? He can, and he does get away, and that's Solurs. Great utility usage, good cover fire, allowing TJ to get the power weapon and to get away.
Look at the pressure put on Xploidz to try and make a play on the other side of the map. He pushed forward, he landed some good shots, but he didn't land it down. So he's going to have to back up. You look at Solurs again. Can we watch only him, Tom? I'm not going to tell you how to do your job, but that man is going off. Maybe we can watch Dyslexic for now. He's trying to fight back, but he's going up against Solurs. Thank you so much, Meerkat, and you're seeing the impact this player does. This is why I talk about it all the time on a map like Harbor, especially when Hive loses those maps. It's because players like Solurs are unable to get into the mix, and there are very few things you can do on a map like that to get that bottom player heavily into those exchanges. That's why I talk about maybe they need to mix things up on Harbor depending on the matchup to allow a player like Solurs to unleash his full potential.
All right, well done. And now we're finally going to get that. Wait, Solurs going to... Okay, so he places the frags there. Interesting, given the fact that that long shot really hasn't changed anything. But that Overlook fight, again, was going so well for them off the start. I guess they just wanted to fight a little bit more. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but then again, you already have your shock. Now you got frags to fight for in the long shot. Maybe Fire and Ice, they're counting on them not reacting to this appropriately or splitting appropriately. Or maybe they just want to send Fire and Ice up to the frags instead of, or alleviate that pressure off the long shot.
Hard to see the frag grenades getting picked up by Fire and Ice, but actually going to get both of these web Xploidz. Just gets embarrassed by TJ, shooting a shot a little too early. Dyslexic is kind of forced up top because of that decap opportunity coming through. TJ gets caught there between two Lancers. Solurs, he's not helping Inzem. He thinks Inzem is out to die. What is going on? Solurs, I'm not going to judge you yet. I'm not going to judge you yet.
You can't. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay. That's one. Let's see if he can get this second. Misses the utility. That's fine, though. Dyslexic is going to pressure up. He's just got to deal with him first because he has one on the flank, and unfortunately, he's going to get pinched, and Dyslexic now is going to break away and do what he does best, right? Slay out. Well done from F and I. If I'm them, though, catching my breath, man. Once Noey drops, I don't really want to push this. Inzem, though, is going to get a nice Lancer. Noey's going to clutch up, and again, oh, my Lord, Noey, you are nasty. And that's what I was about to say, man. I don't think F and I should have committed as much as they just did. They won the fight for Overlook. They should have just took their time and just took a chance to breathe.
I am so shocked he was able to get that elimination. That is just insane. Players like Noey going off. That's why I said players like Solurs, they sometimes get overlooked on a roster like this. And I'm over here even saying that, well, Inzem, a player that has really found his comfortability on that roster, is also a player that sometimes gets overlooked. So Hive up 4-0 with a commanding lead in the matchup. Have some coming back to do in this round, but with 2 hills under their control, it's the pressure it put on Fire and Ice here to make a move. And with one flash grenade in the hands of Dyslexic, Fearzly has one and Xploidz, the shot grenade going over to Toti. It's going to be up to him to really place that shot grenade in the right position, whether you're funneling players off, trying to get them in a position where Xploidz or Dyslexic can go in and get those eliminations. It's just very important. It's well placed.
This is going to be a stop for the ages and potentially the last stop that Hive needs, but it's not. Oh, no, we also lost Solurs. No! It's going to be a 3v4 for the time being, and Hive did have that lead, and now it's going to be very difficult for Hive to win this round. I mean, just, you know, for obvious reasons, you just don't have the manpower to do so. TJ, though, will get that long shot, and I don't know, man. If Hive can win this round, that'll make it all that much more impressive, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely almost out of reach, especially with 2 players getting eliminated. Noey's all by himself. He can't be in 2 places at once. He needs some sort of world star big elimination play, and it doesn't even look like anybody from Fire and Ice is giving him a fair fight. They're backing up, backtracking, baiting him in, getting the kill blow right there, and honestly, that's got to be the final nail in the coffin. But I will say, lucky for Hive, up 4-1. This honestly is exactly the situation they should be comfortable in. They could throw away that round and still be set. But on the side of Fire and Ice, honestly, Solurs lagging out might help you just a little bit. This is a pause moment where you can rethink your strategies, rethink how you want to play these maps, and really figure out what's going wrong.
He can get around me. It's the little things. Again, I can dunk on him, but he can get around me and he can make it happen. Wait. And King Kong is entered. Wait, hold up.
Whoa. Oh, wait a minute. A new challenger has entered the game. And honestly, this is bringing back memories. This is nostalgia. I know you guys can't see. I got one of the biggest, cheesiest smile on my face, and that's got to say something. Y'all know I don't like cheese at all. King Kong, Red Robin, whatever you guys want to know him as. He's a former competitor. He's played for Rise Nation. He's played for Red Reserve. He's played for Ghost Gaming. I've been able to coach this guy. He's now the coach of this Hive squad, and now he's stepping up to the plate. And one of the biggest matches of the night, the grand final. Can you imagine being a pinch hitter? Your star player goes down because that's Solurs. I thought he was going to be the star player of the day, and you have to fill in, and you have to do at least a walk-off, some sort of grand slam, because if they lose while being up 4-1, who do you think the finger is getting pointed at?
You want to talk about those little differences, okay? Now we're talking about a big difference, all right? Solurs is gone, King Kong is in place. All right, this could be interesting, but I'm not going to lie. I like the fact that I'm casting over King Kong once again. This is going to be a blast from the past. Let's get it started. Inzem off the start, knowing he has to go big. We'll take down one. Dyslexic trying to find a different angle. We'll get Inzem quite weak. But Dyslexic still on his own feet. He's forced to retreat back. Shock is there. TJ goes up, and Fire and Ice actually will, in fact. Like they'll take the initial, but they still have Keem to deal with that. Here we go. Keem versus Fearzly. Who wins?
This is the key. Fearzly's dead right here. Keem playing it. Look at the coach. Look at the how many situations, Taylor, do you see where players trying to up a wall bounce around, trying to get that cheeky shot? Keem knew reinforcements were on the way. Another double initial is out on the field, and he's gonna get these frag grenades, playing to his strengths, playing to his team. Fire and Ice is down. Have to make a move, but Keem has those frag grenades. He can put a thorn in the side. He can stop it dead in its tracks with some well-placed frag grenades, but the silver lining right now is Toti with that sniper. He has to get a pick. He has to create some sort of separation and play, whether if it's a body shot or a headshot. The pressure is on.
Pressure is definitely on, but I gotta say, I'm impressed with Hive though. You know, still maintaining that lead. Keem doing what he can do. But we are getting. You're kidding me. Okay, well, can I say that on broadcast? Hey, so the reason why this is actually very unique, I've never heard this before. The reason why Solurs can't play right now is because his dog chewed through his Ethernet cord, his Cat 5 cable, his internet cable. Okay, that's why he's not here. Wow. Talk about the dog trying to. Fire and Ice paid that dog something, and I don't know what it was. He said, take Solurs out of the game. He's playing too good.
If they were losing, that's the classic my dog ate my homework excuse. My dog ate my wire, Keem. You're in.
But with COVID, that's a real thing.
It definitely is. I don't know if he has any spare wire. Ethernet cords. I know for us in the production business, being in the studio, we have extra Ethernets. I don't know how often a pro player just has an extra Ethernet lying around.
I've got like 5 of them. I've got like a 50-foot one in the closet that I made. Like, hey man, that's tough though. Look, I don't know if it's too late to go to Best Buy, but you better be sprinting. No, I want to watch King Kong play at this point. So it's been fun watching you tonight, man. You're popping off. You're playing well. But now it's time for King Kong to shine. It's time for him to get back in the saddle. Can he join this Hive roster as a competitive player? I don't know. Fire and Ice is leading the way though, so this high push, it's everything.
Been in multiple finals, Keem, but he's on the other side of the map here. You see the players funneling around. First down's gonna come in. Noey gets cleaned up. Grenades being launched by Dyslexic. Both of them. That's gonna be a double kill. Keem, you have to be the hero. Unfortunately, you don't even get a chance as the time winds down. 4-2. Fire and Ice taking what is a unfortunate circumstance and using it to their advantage. Talk about gifted miracles. I thought we were gonna be gifted a tree, but Fire and Ice gets gifted one of their own.
It's still close. Like, you know, and Keem had his moments, Jacob. He did have his moments. I don't want to get too. I don't want to put him over the spigot just yet, man.
Definitely. I want to give him a chance to warm up. Hopefully, it was at least
but you don't do it.
Some sort of quick.
You know
play.
what, Jacob? Open it up. Put him on the spigot. What do you got to say, man?
I just want to see like Keem get loose right now. I feel like he might be playing safe. I feel like he might be playing safe because he hasn't had this tournament style play before. I don't even call it practice.
Oh, sure, that's fair, yeah.
He hasn't had this tournament style play, and filling in that first scrim, playing a rank match, being that fill, that's a different feeling. You play different, like we see like some players in those private King of the Hill warm-ups, they start slaying everything. But when it comes to a real match, they play a little different. Right now, Keem doesn't really have anything to lose. Yeah, you can lose the match for your team, but going up against a hot Fire and Ice squad, you almost got to think on paper this kind of went downhill on the side of Hive. So play lights out, man. Go in there, get some kills like I know you can, and take over the game.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way to put it. Look, you already know you're down a teammate. What do you got to lose? Just go for it at this point. But Fire and Ice will get away with quite a bit there. So Xploidz will have the nades, and then, of course, Fearzly is going to have that long shot. And Hive now is in a pretty tough spot, given the fact that it is a 2v2 over on E. So if that could be one from Hive, they can stay alive, because the fight on their own home hill is not going well at all. Because player 8 is actually clutching up. Player 4 better win this. That's going to be Toti in that 1v1, and I don't know if he's won it just yet. But regardless, though, Hive will take the 2-1. Dyslexic's going to fall, and who knows? Maybe they do gain control again.
Yep, and right there, this is where an opportunity. I do think Fire and Ice will have a chance at having that extra side upgrade back, but he wasted that upgrade from Hive. There's going to be no shock grenade coming out, but Xploidz, he gets taken out before he's able to escape with his teammates. Keem caught out of positioning, massive damage being fired out, opportunity, Revive's coming through, doing his job, getting the necessary damage. So Hive, they're going to be able to hold on towards this neutral. You can see they're not pressing forward, they're not getting aggressive. This is why I talk about that safe play coming in, and I do think it's Keem. When you have your coach on the field with you, he's able to vocally take control rather than on when this thing switched to online play. You might not hear him as much. You might not get the same point of view. This is that opportunity for Keem, not really necessarily to step it up and being a huge slaying powerhouse, but really step it up, be the IGL, direct traffic, be the key to Hive success.
Be the key. All right, Hive leading the way. This is great for them. Seriously, it really is. Keem with the Lancer fire takes down Dyslexic, but Fearzly answers back. Inzem down. TJ as well. Keem also falls, and Fire and Ice gets a successful break on the neutral. And Xploidz isn't wasting any time. He's already going to challenge Noey, and this is going to be a big pickup, but he does back away. But either way, Fire and Ice still has the win condition, but Xploidz wants this fresh long shot.
40 seconds is plenty of time here, especially if he's able to land a headshot, a nice body shot, let your teammates clean that one up. You see the rotation coming around. This is where Hive needs to be careful. They're turtling up for one hill, but they're kind of spread out across the map. If one of these players fall in that position, you instantly give up another 2v1 scenario that could lead to more. I know time is winding down. Hive is hoping to win off of 250.
Shot on the Inzem, not enough to bring him down. Great shot on the Noey, but again, not enough to bring him down. You need those headshots and also someone to complement that body shot. But regardless, though, it looks as if Fire and Ice might be getting a break, but a couple of trades do come through. Dyslexic is now broken the hill. Noey now needs to take him down. It's going to be hard. It's a 1v2. And player 6 is all that's left. Can he get a touch? He goes to the meat shield. He does get a touch. And he just about gets a chunk as well. Keem there now. He has to battle through. He's going to get there. But now you're going against 2 meat shields. Tough break. And even so, Fire and Ice turns the win condition back to them. So even if a break gets there, Hive gets Romo, it doesn't matter. It's 3-4.
Round by round by round. I think in general, Solurs lagging out. Even though Keem is a great substitute in his right mind, that does something to these players, man. You're not playing with your full roster, talking about not necessarily trying in that Knights match. Things might have went out the window attitude-wise, but I know they don't want to give this one up easy, especially with these players on this roster, Force, Noey, Keem, and Inzem to round that one out. I want to see some sort of trick play come in. I want to see a 4-man aggressive push somewhere around the map, and maybe backtrack and try to get that sniper out of positioning. But that's one thing that Solurs was doing very well, controlling the middle of the map on these initials. And we're seeing Keem play a little bit of a different spot than we've seen Solurs play early on.
No, you're 100% correct on that. You know, Solurs was instrumental in locking that long shot down, playing that support role, throwing out the utility. I was even complimenting him, I think, when round 2 or round 3 when the long shot was placed, and he did such a great job allowing his teammates to get into the cut and get it early on. Ooh, Dyslexic runs through TJ. I thought for sure TJ was going to pick up that elimination, but off the rip, Hive looks as if they're going to be successful in the 2-1, but just like that, Fire and Ice answers back, and matter of fact, they're going in for the OE. Player 4, he's going to have a lot of members to get through, but I mean, hey, he's here and the pressure's on.
Like where Toti's not getting too aggressive. He's waiting for his teammates to back him up. Well-placed Inzem. They're going to have to take damage. Keem is doing what he can. No trades coming through. Noey dies towards the backside. One player barely spawning in. And what was a 4-0 lead for Hive is now tied up 4-4. They lose a massive impact player in Solurs. Keem coming in, trying to do what he can to save the day, but their entire play style has changed. And honestly, like I said, you need to go in. You need to fight the same fight you were fighting before and come out on top. Just because a player has switched doesn't mean your entire game plan should switch up.
100%, you know, but then again, you know, going back to Solurs being that great support role, locking in the long shot, and just, I think in general, he was playing so well, and it really is unfortunate that his dog ate his Ethernet cable. Again, that just usually never
sound
happens.
Normal.
It will never sound normal. That is a fact, but it is what it is. Fire and Ice has taken advantage of this, and honestly didn't even really, it's not like they're the bad guys, okay? They're just playing their game. It is what it is. But Fire and Ice now brought it back. 4 straight rounds in a row, going into round 9. And this is one obviously you want to win. And oh, I'm looking at, okay, I thought, excuse me, I had the wrong player. I thought King Kong was going by himself as a solo player for the OE, but either way though, that player I believe is going to be TJ, does successfully take down one, and he is in fact getting the break on the home hill of Hive, or Fire and Ice, excuse me.
We're seeing that. Oh, I was about to say, we've seen what Toti was able to do with the sniper. We know Xploidz history with the sniper, immediately puts it to use. Is not looking good for a Hive. And we saw an early overextension coming out from Inzem to try to neutralize that hill. Xploidz once again lands himself a headshot. Dyslexic getting that instant grenade, missed by Noey. They have the frags. They're putting the pressure on the other side of the map, but no, they're actually setting up. They realize the amount of pressure the sniper puts on him. Last round, it was 2 big headshots from Toti. So far this round, 2 big headshots from Xploidz, with Hive now backs up against the wall. I'm not sure what they can do to get themselves into it, especially if Xploidz is still finding these headshots.
And Fire and Ice, like you said, they understand the power of the long shot. They know they don't need to press in as hard as maybe they normally would, right? They can just kind of park the bus, hang out a little bit, perfectly fine. Hive now, it's up to them to make the moves, make the OEs, and really put themselves at risk, right? Fire and Ice, they don't need to do that. Player 7 tries to go for the OE. He's shut down. That was TJ once again. So at this point, again, the pressure's all on Hive.
That's what I talk about. Ever since they changed up their play style, team gets headshotted again. Well-placed opportunity, I should say, as he misses with that frag grenade. Dyslexic trying to catch somebody in the middle. Another headshot, though, that continues to put the pressure on. The longer this round goes, with Fire and Ice just racking up these points, that's going to put pressure on Hive. And when they finally make that push, I just hope there's not too much pressure to where they're discombobulated, disorganized, and then just randomly pushing as 4 or 5, so 4 solo players.
Good body shot again, not enough to take him down, but Noey will make sure he gets value. He takes down King Kong by getting the Lancer damage in. And Inzem also tough spot, forced to try and retreat. He's going back in though. If anybody can pull off this 1v2, it could be him, but unfortunately good spacing from Toti will put him down. Another one will fall on that home hill, and well, Jacob, I think we see how it's going to work out. Fire and Ice is going to win 5 straight rounds in a row and take it 250. So that's going to be 1-0 up, and they're heading into Exhibit their map pick.
Honestly, and I'll be the first one to say, you can't put this all on one player. You can't put this all on team, because you saw it. Their entire game plan had changed. They went from fighting that fight at you, fighting up top, and really being wall for wall aggressive against this Fire and Ice squad, to switching up their strategies, going home hill to home hill, trying to get the early point lead. And with that sniper going over there, you would think they would at least have some presence in towards the middle, especially round after round. I talked about it, Toti, Xploidz, getting headshots that are changing the pace of the game. So honestly, even with the coach coming in, he might not necessarily be as good as Solurs, but you can't put it on Keem because the entire team chose to switch up their strategy.
And to be fair, you know, a couple of rounds earlier, Hive did have a tremendous lead. Like, I'm talking close to a 100-point lead, and only to allow Fire and Ice to obviously get the triple cap, or even just, you know, get the decaps in order to cap out at 250. Despite Hive being so very close to winning. And but you can see on your screen, a lot of the replays are Solurs, like, without a doubt. But it is what it is. Fire and Ice, though, they will take map number 1. And like you said, I'm not going to put too much pressure on Keem. It's just not fair. It really isn't. You know, he joins in. But, you know, shout out to Solurs, man. Look, I will send you an Ethernet cable. Like, I genuinely will send you an Ethernet cable. Please let me know, man. I'll put it in an envelope. I'll put it in a box. I don't know. I'll send you 2.
Just let me know. Where are you at? I know he used to live close to me. I moved just a little bit, man. I can drop it off if you need to. Just take a quick 15-minute commercial break. We can play those ads. I'll get him his Ethernet cord, and then we can have a grand finals that, honestly, I expected to be watching. Like I said, no shame on Keem, but he hasn't been practicing with the squad day in and day out. That man that's been practicing has been Solurs. So like I said, going into this next match, I need Hive, if they are going to use Keem, to stick to their game plan, stick to the stream strategies they would use. I know it's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but you need to pretend that is Solurs playing next to you, not necessarily Keem.
Well, I think
it's hard. I know it's hard.
Well, I know it absolutely is, but you're right. I mean, that's the best play. My only worry is you're going in, first and foremost, you have 2 very difficult maps to play next. Okay, you've got Exhibit and you have Vasgar. And the reason why I say these two maps are difficult is because it's going to put Keen specifically in, and he knows this, it's going to put him in a very close quarter, a lot of close quarter fights. All right. And team fights in general. And again, with him not having as much practice necessarily with this Hive roster, Fire and Ice is going to have a tremendous advantage. It's not necessarily a 4v3. I don't want to be disrespectful because it's not, but it is going to be very hard for Keem to adjust on Exhibit. I feel Training Grounds or District, more of an open map allows him to be more of a support role, more of a fluid player, and that would benefit him more, especially being an add-on to the roster. But getting up into these close quarter maps like Exhibit and Vasgar, it's going to be tough. It really is going to be tough for Hive.
Yeah, but I will say, though, talk about the strategies. Maps like Exhibit and Vasgar, you only kind of have that one play style. A map like Training Grounds, you can kind of roll back. You can play the wide open. And that's allowed Hive to kind of switch up their strategy because they didn't necessarily, maybe I should say, didn't necessarily believe in that aggressive strategy. You can't do that on Exhibit. If you're playing passive, you're probably getting pushed in your spawn. So that, to me, is kind of a blessing in disguise of sorts. Obviously, you don't want to go up against Fearzly up top if Keem does get placed up there. Luckily, Hive usually does send Inzem in that exchange. But it allows Keem to, I have to play aggressive. I have to start getting warmed up rather than Keem, back rolling with his Lancer. The whole team, you saw Inzem overextending on Training Grounds, not necessarily taking the shotting fights that they were. So, like I said, just to cut it short, these two next maps are going to be Keem-style maps and Hive-style maps. And I do air quotes because he does practice with them. They have to be able to get in there first, whether they're losing or winning these fights. They have to be confident that they can win these fights.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Inzem needs to stay up top. Someone needs to challenge Fearzly. You can't put Keem up there. You can't. And it's hard to put him also in those big team fights to 3v3s because we know obviously that's where the meat and potatoes is at. That's where you earn your money. But you also can't give up that lane up top to Fearzly because we've seen what Fearzly can do against, Kenny. Like we've seen what Fearzly can do against the best in the world, right? So it'd be very tough. We got Exist coming through now as well.
All right, I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. It doesn't matter. The FNI is like, it doesn't matter if you send The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker. We can have this Hell in a Cell, and I'm still going to come out on top.
Who is Exist, though? I'm not familiar with the...
I know he's an amateur player. I know who Exist is. Not necessarily in depth every little bit, but he is definitely an amateur player. I don't know how the sub situation works, if they have an actual sub on their roster next to Keem as the coach, but... Hey, maybe Exist plays the game a little bit more. I know in the past with Gears of War 3, Gears of War 4, he was a young gun. He was very aggressive. He has the ability to get in these players' faces. I haven't seen too much of him, admittedly, in Gears of War 5, but if he's able to grow on what he has set as a foundation, that could be signs of greatness. And if he's able to keep up with the aggression of this Hive roster and how they play normally as a team, who knows? Who knows? We've seen crazier things happen.
You know what I think the best option here is? You remove Dyslexic from FNI. You take him out of the mix. Huh?
And then play 3v3? Oh.
No, hear me out. You remove Dyslexic from FNI, and then you just keep it as it is with the 3 members of Hive, and then you add Ryan and Ribs. I don't care who goes on which roster.
And they have to fight the 1v1 up top. And they have to fight it up top.
And they have to 1v1 up top. All right. They Ribs, have to 1v1 up top.
I know it's on already.
That would be fun. That would be fun. And the reason why I say Dyslexic, because he's just going to pop off, right? You take him out of the mix, then it gets. I think it gets a bit more competitive.
Like you say that, but Xploidz with that sniper last round. I know we probably will not see a sniper here. We probably won't. But then again, maybe we will. We saw it last one against United and FNI. And when it comes to trick strategies, when it comes to placing a weapon center line that isn't a drop or a boom, FNI loves that sniper. And you see, yes, we heard it from the man himself, the man upstairs, goalie Exist is actually their sub. I don't understand why he didn't come in a little bit sooner with that 4-1 lead.
A bit short notice.
Maybe his dog ate his Ethernet toward too.
Maybe, man. Maybe dogs are just going crazy. Maybe it's full moon. I don't even know, man. I haven't been outside in a while. I don't even think I could. It's been dreary weather, man. Raining, windy. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But hey, man, if he's the official sub, this is going to be a rare chance then to get into the or get deeper into the roster of what Hive can bring to the table, right? Because you never know. There might be a chance where Exist will have to fill in Pro League if somebody gets sick or something ends up taking place. So this is going to make things, I think, a little bit more interesting. And again, more insight in the Hive. Exist is going to have to pull up now that if he really is the official sub, I know it's short notice. Granted, I know it's short notice, but if he is the official sub, let's see how well he fits in.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw a wild situation out there that we'll probably never see, but I want to see it now that I saw Keem. I know he may not be listed as the sub, but there's a man on Rise that I want to see getting back in the battlefield. I'm hoping somebody's internet breaks down on the next E-Days, whatever it may be. I need to see Drix. If I saw Keem today, I need to see Drix on the field next week. Make it happen. I don't know how you guys are going to make it happen. Maybe Rushy's got sick. Maybe Avexis is on the toilet. I don't know. We need to see Drix.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see Drix come back. You know, just chat. You better be nice if Drix does come back. All right, because I remember what
it brings back. Oh no,
it brings back a lot of memories. Jacob brings back a lot of memories.
It really does.
Hey, guys, we're waiting. It is what it is. You know, I know you guys are thinking we can start the game. We can't. We're still waiting. You can see the time torch cam here. We're waiting on one of the members from Hive to get into the mix, and hopefully we will get everybody so we can start the game up. I believe we're waiting on. Are we waiting on Inzem?
Yep.
Wait on Inzem, aren't we? Yep. So Inzem, as soon as Inzem gets in here, we will be starting the game. But it's been a great night. Murray's out there, says get Choche in. Fair enough. Okay. So Murray's okay. So here we go. Inzem's here. Talking about people makes the dream work. Looks like we're about to get started, hopefully.
Ribeiro is a rather free 175. Man, I've never seen somebody win so many championships and have negative respect on their name. How? He owes respect to himself. I don't even know how that's possible, but all jokes aside, though, with this one going underway, Exist is in here, and I don't know if anybody in the chat can kind of fill this in. I know he's coming from the challenger scene, possibly. This exists. How often is he playing Gears of War 5? How often is he getting the reps in there with Hive or with some other teams? Or is he just one of those players that he's a hitman of sorts, that he's just waiting in the rings with those ELO matches, waiting for this opportunity to just really take the scene by storm?
Ryan said, you think I'm losing to a Super Smash Bros. Players? Good joke, pal.
Hey,
Ritz better be here to defend. He popped in randomly just a little bit ago. I can't
defend that comment, man. Them Super Smash Bros. Players, he's going to have the whole community on him. I'm sorry, Ryan. You're on your own on this one. First Free Reflections with E United. Now you with the entire FGC Smash community.
I think Ryan could take on that community. I'm going to be real with you, though. I'm going to be real.
He's friends with
him. Let me know.
I already know. There's a history there.
Chad already hates me enough whenever PK or FNI or any Latin American team loses. For some reason, I'm to blame. I have no idea why. I really don't. But hey, here we go. Let's get it started. Again, Exist is in the fold, the official sub for the Hive roster when it comes to the Pro League. So you can expect Hive to be playing, I think, a lot more efficiently here. Keem gave it his best go, but obviously it is very difficult to replace someone like Solurs. But off the rip, two players will drop off, TJ and Noey, and Exist now is going to be that 1v1. Let's see what he can do. Flex his muscle, and he hits a brick, and he doesn't get that. I am shocked.
This round is going to continue. Noey should be able to reach the hill. I said in slow motion, just in case I was wrong. So that one's going to be prolonged just a little bit. Great heads-up play by Noey to overextend that one. So that's going to allow his 3 members of his team to spawn up, try to get in position. They got to be careful, though. There's a couple players hiding towards the left, hiding towards the right. Make sure you utilize utility and go when you go ahead and throw them. Get the stun, whether you break down the meat shield, because if you wait until after the utility explodes, it could cost you. But nice, well-played shot by Exist. Following up on a well-placed flash. He actually lands another big shot. Unfortunately, Hive losing some members on the other side of the map. So now he's stuck in a 1v2 situation that is possibly for the round.
That tough break ends up going down. And like you said, it could be for the round indeed, as you're going to see. Fire Knight's going to be able to apply that pressure, but interestingly enough, they don't overcommit. They keep 7 and 9 to keep that 2v1 on A, and they sent only 2 players over for B. But even so, it seems to be working. And now this is imperative that players 1 and 3 on Hive, TJ and Exist, they need to get this break or at least a touch. They don't. They don't get the touch. I am shocked. They were right there next to it. What happened?
And it's got to be a little lack in communication. I don't think anybody's really counting down or stressing how urgent it is these players to go. I know there's a little bit with the sound not necessarily being there, but you can't really rely on that. You have to have the awareness to know when I'm getting triple capped, especially when players are getting eliminated for these hills. Unfortunately, just a few seconds off, costing them that round. And Exist, even he had a big play trying to save that round up there. Unfortunately, he got stuck in a 1v2 situation. So you get the spotlight, you get your opportunity here, playing with the big dogs. I'm going to be looking at Exist all series long, not to put any blame in him, but just to see if he can impress me.
All right, here we go. Going into the second round. And, you know, this is, in fact, kind of the playing grounds, I like to say it, for Fire and Ice, hence why they ended up picking it. They got a great victory just earlier, or I think in one of their first series, or at least I think in Pro League in general. Fire and Ice is definitely done a great job. It was, okay, excuse me, last week when they played against Pittsburgh Knights in Grand Finals, they got a 5-1 victory against that very roster. And we know how good PK can be, right? So Hive, I think, is a better team fundamentally, but even so, I think Hive is going to be obviously having a harder time with Exist, but it is what it is. Ooh, Dyslexic off the pickup will pick up Exist. Noey also falls, and Dyslexic looking to make some big boy moves. Inzem just on the other side. Dyslexic going to disengage, force Inzem to roll into him, get that additional chip damage, potentially take him down. Both players trying to put each other on skates, and Dyslexic stays up and gets out of there.
Great heads up play by him. He stayed in that hill just long enough for his teammates to be able to spawn up and get the time. Unfortunately, two players of Hive dive in towards the middle, take out Dyslexic. Fearzly's gonna fall as well. And luckily you were commentating that whole time, because I was about to say how dominant Fearzly is playing in those 1v1 scenarios. He won another exchange against TJ, the star player of Hive. Dyslexic on the other side of things, taking out the sub in Exist, making short work of him. Hive are trailing in this one. Luckily for them, they're gonna get that capture so they can start regaining points, but Noey is being pushed back by Dyslexic. But three players from Hive, they could be falling into a trap here. They got to be careful, but three players of Fire Knights, they're going to be ready for defense. They know Fire Knight or Hive is here to push.
Fire and Ice played Pittsburgh Knights last night in Pro League, and man, Dyslexic was just playing so good. I mean, he was playing so amazing, and he's playing even amazing now. He's 6-2 with 1 death, and you can see how confident he is to push these fights. But I love the fact that his teammate is right there next to him. It's so seamless. But if I had a nickel for every time Dyslexic was full red and didn't die, I'd be rich. I'd really genuinely be rich. And there's a little bit of love tap coming through, and you already know Fire and Ice are feeling themselves. Domination, it's going to be here. 2's not even going to move out. 1 is giving it his all, but we know it's over with. 2-0 lead, Fire and Ice.
What really sucks right now is the fact that I know you mentioned it early on about a whole different matchup between Hive and Knights really not caring and so on and so forth. I think after that 4-0 comeback due to unfortunate circumstances, coming into this one, losing 2 quick rounds, I think Hive's just playing the rest of these rounds deflated. They're not necessarily trying their all, which is really very unfortunate for a grand finals and how we got here. But that really shows a lot about Fire and Ice right now. It doesn't matter who is on the other side of the battlefield. They're playing 100% the entire time. They don't want to give up any inches. They don't want to give up any rounds. They want this 5-0.
And to be fair, I still give Hive the win, obviously, on training grounds if Solurs stays in. I really do. But I don't give Hive the win here on Vasgar. I still feel Vasgar, map number 2, Fire and Ice was the heavy favorite to take over this victory. And I firmly believe that. And it would have came down to map 3 regardless, and it could have been anybody's game. But, you know, Hive, it's just, it is what it is. But again, you want Hive to play at the fullest of their extent. And I think they really are. And it even exists. Being the sub, again, not to put too much pressure on him, but I genuinely think he's coming into this wanting to play as hard as he can to show Hive at least what he could do. You know, this is a rare chance that he has to play with this roster at a competitive level.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate the circumstances. I want to see him kind of try to make some moves. I don't know who's really stepping in right now and kind of helping with the IGL scenario, how much information is being given, but you see 2 different 2v2s on 2 different sides of the map. And I honestly think Exist has an opportunity here to backtrack and try to cross over the top. He can land some crucial shots on Fearzly if Fearzly is in the wrong position, which will give the edge over to that players in that 2v2 scenario for Hive. It's just a matter of will the cards line? Will everything fall into place to make that happen?
All right, bit of a standstill. We've been here for a while. He's looking to make a move, but there goes Flash first out. Xploidz pushing up with that retro. Trying to put himself in a difficult spot. Now he looks like he might isolate TJ. Look at Exist pulling up, though. He really wants to show what he can do. Trying to take down Xploidz. Xploidz missing a couple shots. Exist will capitalize and take him down, potentially Toti as well. So well done for Hive. Fire and Ice seem to have the added advantage pushing up, but in the end, they get taken down. But of course, the final boss on Fire and Ice is Dyslexic. He's 8-3, 1 death, and he's still pushing up.
Yeah, that was a great rotation coming through from Inzem. Talking about 2 different 2v2 scenarios on the map. He quickly made that a 3v2, and right at the right time. There was a lot of pressure being put on Exist, just like we see right in front of us. Fearzly, while bouncing around, can he get an elimination? No, he cannot. Inzem shuts him down, going to continue to stagger the death, and lands another couple Lancer bullets to take out Dyslexic. Unfortunately, Exist dies, so it was a massive 4v2 on the map. It's now only going to be a 3v2, and you can kind of see both TJ and Noey really thinking about where they're going to set up, and where the next play is, because even though they have 2 hills, the play is going to be made from Fire and Ice. You already see the rotations towards the back end. You need to figure out this information and figure out, hey, are we going to hold, or are we going to continue our counterclockwise rotations in an aggressive manner?
And TJ's talent here is going to be very difficult to push through. Granted, Fearzly has his own firepower with the retro, and he's going to need to use that to the fullest of his abilities. But these big 2v2s, I mean, they could end the round. And Toti is going to take down Exist. Noey's going to get a trade. Actually, no, he doesn't. He's going to go ahead and back off. And again, this could be disaster for Hive depending on how this fight goes, but they managed to win the fight on C. But Player 9 is going to be on the flank. He could be the playmaker.
It's going to be a big flank from Noey. Solidifying that one, allowing that one to get capped up by Exist. The score is so close. C's being decapped as well. 2 players, I don't want to say they kind of got to fight for it, because I do believe the win condition continues to stay with the COG no matter what happens, but TJ doesn't want to give up that chance. There it goes, 2-0 lead for Fire and Ice. It's finally going to have Hive on the board on this one, as this round does come to an end. They are 2-1. They still trail, but that's how you get Exist warmed up.
Yeah, well done. Exactly, right. Get Exist back into it. Give the confidence back into Hive, saying, look, we're not just going to lose. We can at least get some rounds here and there. And I think that's important for Hive to understand that despite them having their sub in, Solurs having an unfortunate disconnect, if they do fight as hard as they possibly can, there is a very real chance they can beat Fire and Ice, because, on the shoe's on the other foot. Fire and Ice could get complacent in this moment, right? They're like, oh, they're playing with Exist, they're playing with King Kong, they're playing with the sub. Hey, we got this in the bag, right? So complacency does kill. And in this moment, Fire and Ice, they've got to battle against that complacency and still play as hard as they can. You mentioned that Fire and Ice, regardless if they're playing against a full roster or not, they're going to continue to play as hard as they can. But no team is impervious to complacency, so that's the biggest thing F&I has to fight against.
Not sure how complacent, you got Murray, you got Choche in the chat, you got almost the entire Fire and Ice management crew supporting this roster. They're doing it for the people at home too, the entire Latin American region. Talk about this match in front of us only being E-Days. Fire and Ice sitting near the top of the leaderboard in Pro League as well. This fight going down back and forth when it comes to the damage, but when it comes to the elimination, Hive is going to strike first. 2 quick kills. TJ goes down though. Exist gets headshotted with a Bull Talk. Toti trying to make a play. He misrolls at the wrong time. Inzem takes him out, lets the death stagger, and immediately sets himself with his eyes on the objective.
Fire and Ice, though, quick to push him back. Big 2v2. Inzem gets to pick up. One tries to get the finish, and it looks like the cleanup will be there. So that's going to be a successful retake. 1v1, though, between 9 and 1. That's going to be Fearzly and TJ. Meanwhile, player 6 is going to be on Charlie. So this should put these 2 players from Hive into action. They know they need to get onto B soon enough. That's going to be their chance to stay alive. Of course, the players off respawn for Hive is going to be there, but the more time that the F&I holds down this 2-0 lead, I mean, hey, they're going to be in the driver's seat, even more so than they already were. But Dyslexic, big 1v2, big brick, though. Noey takes him down, lets him bleed out. And Hive will take 1 hill, but again, they still need a little bit more. That A hill is going to be a 1v1.
It's just unfortunate for Noey because of how long he has to rotate around the map. He's not even going to get the decap for free. He's going to have to fight for the decap as well. Retro in the hands of Xploidz. That's going to make it that much harder. Rotation coming in, though, from Inzem is going to leave this 2v2, but with a 70-plus point lead going over to the Swarm, Hive can't get content. They can't get complacent. They got to start making moves. They're doing what they can to capture, but taking too much damage here, and they know that Retro is over the top, so if they risk too much, they certainly know this round will come to an end.
Ooh, and it might. See how this works out. Again, another 2v2 split, both on A and B as well. But I will say, Hive has been doing a phenomenal job at winning these 2v2s. But this is the moment where it matters most. This is the moment where they have to clutch up and could potentially change the lead back into their hands. But it has to come to the way of domination. That's going to be the only way that they're able to take this. And Fearzly starts it off strong for F&I. TJ goes down. Exist, though, is going to be dropped up. And Noey's going to be able to pick up Xploidz. Toti is going to pick up the fresh Bull Talk. But as F&I secures B in their hands, That should be all they need, especially if player 8 can blindside player 1. Possibility looks like he's going to pass him. He's going to be on the backside of him. He's going to Lancer out. That's a big 1v1. He goes down, and yeah, that's it. Fire Knife's going to take this round.
It's just looking like an uphill battle for Hive the entirety of the way through. And there was a huge moment on the home hill of Hive that Fire Knights, they got the necessary eliminations. They broke the home hill. They realized 2 players had spawned up.
Stop.
Instead of overstaying... Wait, what's going on?
Player 2's got to go big. Hold on, player 2's got to go big. Hold on. All right, never mind. Fire Knights locks it in. Ooh, man, I started looking at it because I knew I called it a bit too early. And I was like, Fire Knights can still lose this, but okay, they hold on. They proved me right.
I was talking like this one was over. I was talking about that moment on the home hill. I was giving Fire Knights props for being able to hold on. Luckily, they didn't make me look like a fool and choke that one. But as I was saying, those players of Hive, they push forward. Normally in these situations, especially today, you would see a team in Hive's positioning try to hold on to get that capture, but instead they backed off of the hill. They played for damage. They played for time, and that in the end gave them such a big lead that Hive, they weren't able to really utilize a 4-man advantage, a 3-man advantage, or whatever it may be. They had to go, and you saw it there late, and I know you said it yourself. TJ tried to go past. He didn't see that player in Toti waiting with the Lancer, and it cost him in the end.
All right, here we go. Round number 5. F&I leads the way 3-1, so they've obviously put themselves in a great spot. Shocks are going to be there, Boltok as well. And the Shocks are going to be fun to see how they do play out. For the time being, though, Tank is not going to have a hill, so this is going to be just kind of a fight for transitioning over. Excuse me, we're on the second half, so now it's just going to be a transitional point, but still an important point to lock in. Off the rip, though, Fire and Ice, with the spawns that they have, they will be able to lock in D and E. So it's up to Hive to be the first ones, the first aggressors. And they're going to be doing that by pressuring in onto Toti.
Well played, Shock's going to put a stop to that push. The battle is going down in towards the middle. It does look like Fire and Ice have the advantage when it comes to help. Inzem's going to get taken out first. TJ took a massive amount of damage. Exists, bites off more than he can chew. Quick down coming through. TJ needs it. That's going to be a double kill. Talk about needing it. He takes it away. But Hive, they need to build off this momentum. You can't let 1 or 2 plays like this go without grabbing more of the map. You see F being decapped. That means TJ, he has to backtrack. He has to make sure Fearzly does get eliminated. It doesn't matter if Fire and Ice take that home hill back, because then you'll have a man advantage and your team to work to get the hill right back under your control. You see 4 players on this side of the map. That push is surely to come.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a 3v2. Player 2 trying to get sneaky. Noey looking to go into the mid section. Player 7 could catch him off guard though, and he might be doing so. I think he's been spotted, but regardless, so this 3v2 is here. Xploidz going to be able to Lancer 1, gets chunked, and that's going to leave now. Ooh, just like that, Toti will fall as well. Well done from the boy, specifically TJ, man. TJ has been pulling up big and understanding that, look, I've got to pull up the big boy pants, man. It's time to get serious, and well, he's doing so. But this is going to be a true test of what TJ can bring to the table. He's in a 2v3, make that a 1 or 3v none. Noey's going to go ahead and retreat.
No, he was a little bit late to rotate over. He was trying to be the reinforcements while he allowed Exist to try to go get that free decap and capture on the hill. But now Exist is in a 1v1 scenario here. He needs to be careful. Actually gets taken out by Dyslexic. You got to imagine how different that would be with Noey on this side of the map. And then they could possibly have these 2 hills under their control, trying to come back from this deficit. But instead, they are on 2 different pages yet again. But that's kind of what happens when you have a substitute instead of one of your star players. Now Hive feeling the pressure, trying to make a push late in the game, but they're just getting ticked off one by one.
One by one, as you said. And Toti hitting some shots, right? And it's almost looking unwinnable at this point. 4 Hive during this round. The only chance is really, we just got to get on all hills. That's going to be the only play. Player 6 is going to go ahead and meet up with 1. He's going to back off, though. He understands, look, I don't need to fully, and speaking in regards to Inzem, right? He knows, or Xploidz, he understands he doesn't need to pressure that. He could just allow them, give them enough rope, and then take them down. 4-1 lead. F&I well underway to leading 2-0, winning the series.
And this is almost like a tragedy to go down. Like I said, I thought we were going to see a great match between these 2 teams. It started off hot. Fire and Ice looking flat, but ever since that change, you can kind of see the confidence in the members of Fire and Ice as well. Dyslexic taking 1v1s. You kind of see it on the other side with Fearzly as well, taking his 1v1s. But I mean, Fearzly's been doing that all day anyway.
Yeah, no, Fearzly's been playing out of his mind regardless, you know, it doesn't even matter. I mean, tragedy, yeah, it's unfortunate. It is what it is, though, again. But, you know, the team's played it out, right? The team's played it out, and Hive has really been trying, I think. But Fire and Ice is already a strong team as it is, right? To add in a sub of Keem or even, you know, their most, or their actual sub of Exist, it's still short notice and tough for them to do. And I thought this matchup would come down to the wire regardless, you know? So, it is what it is. 4-1 lead, Fire and Ice, obviously looking pretty solid. Round the rosy we go, and Dyslexic will get 2, even though he gets traded off, and Xploidz now is going to be able to get that cap of E off of the back of Dyslexic.
I told you, they're feeling themselves right now, especially knowing they almost have nothing to lose, being up 4-1, 1-0 in map and series point. We're knocking on your door. They can play almost however they want, and then they'll have a few rounds to clean it up if it does get out of hand. But you see the push coming through from Hive. Lots of damage being fired out. Noey gets taken out. Flash grenade towards the top side. TJForce exists in a 1v3. He's going to die as well. Inzem needs to make a play towards the top half of the map. He needs to get this decap to prolong this round, or it's over. A shock on the hill. He has to get this elimination, and now he almost has to go down for it.
Oh, finds a little pixel to stand in, so he's going to stay up. Good on him for staying alive, but still, the battle is underway. And Fire and Ice is going to go ahead and run, at least for the time being, kind of recuperate. Player 2 is hungry, though. Noey is going for it, and it's going to pay off. Takes down Dyslexic, and that's going to force the rest of the F&I boys to really square up. 3v3 for F, and Hive has a chance to take this round.
They definitely do. But to stop the momentum, Fire and Ice, that's going to be step number 1. I wouldn't constitute this as building any for your own just yet, but 2 hills going on over to Hive. Really close game in this round, but we see these close games go sideways towards the very end. No hills in favor of Fire and Ice, so Hive really putting a dent in this score line. The caps are finally coming through, but it does look like Toti's going to get taken out. The decap is soon to follow. One player is going to prolong the round for Fire and Ice, and that's going to be the superstar we've been talking about almost all season long in Dyslexic.
Yeah, well done. Dyslexic continues to play well, but even so, Hive trail, or excuse me, F&I trails, and they're going to need to retake a hill. Hive, though, I don't know, they're playing a bit different. They're playing way more aggressive, more confident, it seems. So F&I, I believe, do have their hands full, and there is a chance that maybe Hive can take this momentum and run with it. Toti getting pressured. He's down. And good job from Hive. They're just going to immediately back up, force F&I to continue to send one member after the other, and they hold on. Hive is looking good.
Told you, man. I just need to see them stick to their game plan. Let Exist get loose. Start to warm up. Like, you got to play as if your sub isn't necessarily your sub in terms of playing with your mechanics, playing aggressive as a team. It did look like Fire and Ice is going to go ahead and throw this round away, and hopefully they don't get mad at each other. This is one of those rounds that you can throw away. You have a huge cushion, like I spoke about early on, and then you just play this next one as maybe the round never happened, or maybe you just didn't lose, but Dyslexic 18-11 completely taken over this game. And honestly, you can see it in his playstyle I spoke about already. He is pushing everybody that's in front of him.
I would like to see a power weapon. I really would. You know, I think the Hive has the chance, as if it stays as it is, to, you know, slowly but surely come back, really utilize the teamwork, which they are implementing quite well. But I personally want to see a power weapon, but it is what it is. Shocks and instants are just as exciting if utilized correctly. But for F&I, they are going to be on the better side if we had to pick one, right? So now they're going to be able to take D and E, I think, pretty early on. So this is going to be a tough round for Hive. But if they can make it through this one, hey, they have a very real chance to send it to round 9.
They have a real chance indeed. But this is where we come down to these stalemate scenarios in the beginning of some of these rounds, to where they're just trying to toy with the other player, whether you're up, aiming, glancing people, or throwing an instant grenade off the start. Dyslexic is going to escape that one. And you got to look. They have instants of their own in the hands of Toti, but he's not in this fight. That's going to be a big kill coming out from Noey. Inzem does get traded out. Fearzly with a huge flank opportunity. What does Hive do? Are they going to backtrack, or are they going to try to go forward? Exist gets caught trying to backtrack out. Fearzly is being a huge distraction on the side. He does end up getting taken out, but that's going to be a huge trade. Fearzly, that's going to be a big distraction. Another elimination possibly going over as TJ does get taken out. 2 hills for Fire and Ice. They do have a little bit of a lead to overcome, but as I finish that sentence, this lead is no more.
Yeah, if Fire and Ice loses one more member there, like let's say TJ picks up another one and brings it down to a 1v2 or a 2v2, Man, that could have been pretty nice. They could have been absolutely in the driver's seat. But even so, Hive finds a way to get their numbers back quickly. They're off the respawn, and they're immediately taking F once again. That's going to put F and I in a weird spot. Player 6 especially, Xploidz, forced to maybe clutch up 1v2. Could be a 1v3 very shortly. He's got to watch his backside, or at least get a trade here. He's going for it. He fakes to pick up one, goes for the second, can't get it. But even so, though, he did a great job trying to hold his own in that location. And Hive, once again, that 2-1 is in their hands. But Fire and Ice is looking to retake E.
Inzem is doing a good job of distracting Fearzly. Big fight coming through from TJ. He actually marks him at the last second, making sure nothing is left unnoticed. That's going to be a big down on Fearzly. The hill is going to change hands. Fire and Ice is going to be not netting any points, but a big fight coming through for Xploidz off of respawn. Inzem, he just needs to buy time here. Noey goes down on the other side of the map. Now that makes buying time that much more crucial. Big elimination coming through for Inzem. And his second one as well. That's going to be massive. Triple cap domination opportunity as Exist wins his fight on the other side of the map as well. Inzem needs to get in the hill. He gets taken out. Fearzly wins yet another 1v1 to keep Fire and Ice in this round.
But still so much work, and you can see that, Jacob. Fire and Ice has to play this pretty perfectly. Despite being 40 points down, they do get the 2-1, but I am impressed with how well Hive is playing. And Toti too, right? Toti needs this positioning, and he needs to hold it in well because he's going to get pressured hard. And at this point, Hive, any hill they get is just going to give them that win condition even more. So at this point, this is do or die. Fire and Ice can make this happen. Hive can make it happen. It's just who wants it more.
What? No! No! Dyslexic! With a huge double kill play. A bad shot grenade by the side of Hive. TJ has to go big here. He has to get the decap on this hill, and he has to get the capture. It's simply not going to be enough while getting triple cap dominated, taking all the damage in the world. He is going to get the break. The round is going to be prolonged, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They need a triple neutralization or a double cap. They're only going to get one, so they have to extend across the other side of the map. This is a big fight for Exist. The man subbing in when they need him most. He does not win it, and Dyslexic, and seemingly so, puts the final nail in the coffin.
No! TJ with the mismatch. Okay. What? And then he takes out Toti. Okay, well, it shouldn't matter. I don't know what. He's just popping off. Look, he was just shooting everything that moved at that point. That's what Dyslexic does best. Man, what an exciting last round. And you know what? Hive, for what it's worth, they lose 5-2. But let's not forget, they were up 4-0 on training grounds, and there were a couple of amazing rounds that Hive was really doing a great job on. So even though they take the L, hey, they still get a W in my book, and it was nice to see what Exist can bring to the table. But hey, the real W goes to Fire and Ice. Good job from them. That's going to better their record in E-Days, now up to 2 championships, and that will tie the men of Hive. So we got a little battle going on, guys. We got Hive and F and I who are leading the way in terms of championships.